Almost all of the leadership books you will ever come across will emphasize the need for every leader to have a vision that drives his or her life. Now, this is not just a leadership hack, it is a principle that needs to be adopted by every one of us if we must live impactful and fulfilling lives. But before we talk about what it means to live a vision-driven life, with all of its entailments, it is important to first of all define what it means to be visionary. Simply put, to be visionary is to possess the ability to look ahead with purpose and clarity in the right direction. While it is essentially important to have a mental picture of what lies ahead or what your future holds for you, it does not just stop there. It is possible to have big dreams and beautiful aspirations, but once it only stops at that, then it was only an exercise in futility. The future does not only belong to those who can dream it. No, it also belongs to those who will wake up from that dream and work towards creating and achieving it. Whatever your vision will be, make sure it has its source in God. God gives people visions, and this usually happens in a progression. In Isaiah's life, we see a perfect example of this act of God. The prophet Isaiah was able to have a fruitful and fulfilling ministry because he received a vision from God that in turn changed his life and affected his ministry. Isaiah chapter 6 tells us about how the prophet Isaiah entered the temple on one fateful day and had a magnificent vision of God that will launch his ministry into something spectacular. In the same way, if you want your life to become anything meaningful, you must earnestly desire a vision of God. Once you encounter God, you will be able to get a proper direction for your life. There is no guidance that is better than a divine guidance. Isaiah said he saw the Lord and a new chapter was opened in his life. Have you seen the Lord? Have you encountered him yet? Are your ears opened enough to hear him? Do you see God or hear him or encounter him? To see God or hear him or encounter him is to have a vision of him, and to meet him will set you on the correct path for a fulfilling life. Interestingly, God wouldn't just set you on the correct path, he will drive you himself. In Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 1 to 3, the scripture spells out some very important lessons on how we can live the purpose-driven life. I will stand at my guard post and station myself on the tower, and I will keep watch to see what he will say to me and what answer I will give as his spokesman when I am reproved. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly on clay tablets, so that the one who reads it will run. For the vision is yet for the appointed future time. It hurries toward the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail, even though it delays. Wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. Like Isaiah, Habakkuk is also stressing the importance of listening to God for a vision to drive our lives. But next to getting a vision from God is assuming the role of a scribe by writing down the vision. There is a Chinese proverb that says that the faintest ink is better than the sharpest mind. This is to further buttress the fact that writing down whatever you have seen, heard or imagined is better than relying on your mind to remember. Actually, to forget is human, and to remember is divine. Your vision is crystallized and given life when you write it down. So, do not ignore this seemingly simple task. The vision-driven life is best lived with people who share the same vision with you. People are very important in your life if you will live a life of meaning and relevance. It is said that when you want to go fast, you should go alone. But if you want to go far, go with someone. At the end of our lives, we will discover that it is not so much about how fast, but how far we lived. Even the Bible has opened our eyes to see that you need people to run with your vision. In reality, there are really no self-made men. God makes men and equally uses other people to shape our destinies, whether directly or indirectly. So, when you have written your vision, make sure there are people who will read it and run with it together with you, or even in your absence. When you live a vision-driven life, you are better prepared to avoid and get rid of distractions that will take you off the track of reaching your expected destination. There are so many details on the path of life. Sometimes we are so blind to identify them. But as long as you are driven by your vision, you are in a better position to know the things that you need to stay away from if you must get to where you are headed. Sometimes, the people in your life can stand as distractions. You must trust God to be discerning enough to be able to identify them so that you can weed them out or stay away from them. The vision-driven life is not a hasty life. Those who want to go too fast may end up as casualties on the highway. The vision that God has given you is for an appointed time. You will do yourself a lot of good to wait for it to come to pass in God's appointed time. You will definitely have moments of delay and setbacks. Yet, you must never give in to the temptation to give up or throw in the towel. There is an appointed time, and when that time comes, nobody can stop you from walking into your vision. In fact, we do not see as God sees. What may look like a delay may actually be in accordance with God's schedule for your life. So, cheer up and live your purpose-driven life.